Orgasmic enlightenment, where the sexual and spiritual come together. I'm Kim Anami, and I'm a holistic sex and relationship coach and a vaginal weightlifter. In this show, we explore all things intimate. I believe that our sexual energy is life force, creative energy, and we can use it to shape our worlds, strengthen our relationships, and self-actualize. I blend the most avant-garde information from neuroscience, ancient sexual practices like Tantra and Taoism, to renegade wellness modalities to show you how to create gourmet sex in your lives. Come one, come all. 30 years and the sex is hotter than ever. One of the biggest sex and relationship myths out there is the notion that lifelong, passionate sex is an impossibility, or that human biology played a dirty trick on us all, made us sexually attracted to each other for 2 years so that we could procreate, and then dropped off, never to return again. Bullshit. I get that this is most people's experience, but most people do not live in Anami land and have no idea what's possible. So the purpose of this podcast is to show them. Most people accept the common narrative and the picture they see in all the couples around them of people having no sex, very little sex, lame sex, and certainly not life-changing sex, which is the Anami gold standard. They don't know what they don't know. My big barometric question to people always is, does sex leave you feeling rejuvenated, energized, transformed, ecstatic, like it changed your life, and you want to go to the gym afterwards? If not, you're doing it wrong. In Anami land, sex gives us energy and the fuel we need to achieve, create, and dominate in every element of our lives. In Anami land, we believe that every couple can have lifelong, passionate sex with rock-hard erections, multiple orgasms, and very juicy, lubricating pussies well into your 90s without the aid of any pharmaceuticals. Over the decades of me doing and teaching this work, I have created a formula to making this a reality for everyone. I shared about going on a transformative fitness journey over the past year. I lost weight, I got shredded, and am fitter than I've ever been in my life. How did I do it? I hired a trainer and I followed a formula. Calories and protein in, balanced with activity out, and voila, you have a fit as fuck body. It is a repeatable formula and anyone can do it if they put their minds and bodies to it. Just like with my work, there are repeatable steps to take you into well-fucked man and well-fucked woman status. I'm always showcasing our well-fucked all-stars on the podcast to show you that these people, despite having 6 children, high-powered jobs, and whatever plethora of excuses most people use to rationalize why they are not having good sex or any sex, how they did it. This woman, despite having extensive sexual trauma and never having an orgasm before, she did it. This man, who hasn't been able to last longer than 5 minutes and his marriage is about to end, he did it. And so can you. In today's episode, I'm speaking with Jeff, our well-fucked all-star of the well-fucked all-star couple, Jeff and Jen. He was on an episode last year, solo, called How to Dickmatize Your Woman. Great episode. Highly recommend it. They did a year of Anami, where they signed up for all of my courses and dedicated themselves to up-leveling their sex life. They have been together for 30 years, and now the sex is hotter than ever. In our conversation, he shares what Anami well-fucked way of life concepts they have taken on and now live by. Well-fucked all-stars. Welcome, Jeff. It's great to have you back.
Thank you, Kim. I'm happy to be here.
So there's so many things that we can talk to you about. We wanted to focus on this notion of being together for decades as a couple, and in your case, 3 decades, and having sex that's better than ever and hotter than ever, which goes against what most people think is going to be their lives and what is most people's lives. So tell us about what it's like to be in with somebody for that long, and what are the things that you think are most important to keeping that sizzle and simmer going this many years into everything?
Most important in maintaining a relationship like that is definitely communication. You have to talk to each other about what you want, right? And I mean, we've we've been together for so long, but we've only really been involved with you for about the past 2 years. So the first 28 years of this, we had decent communication, and I wouldn't say we were unhappy with anything, but that ever since we've started working on all of this stuff, this has been like a whirlwind. Our whole lives are different now. Ever since I shared a video of yours with her a couple of years ago, the communication has just kind of like really gotten precise, you know what I mean, about what I want, in terms of in a relationship with a woman. All of those inhibitions and like the self-conscious stuff and like society's damage that was done to us about what what about sharing, like who we are and the things that we want, fantasies and things like that. And that never really got shared in the past because for shame purposes and whatever. The same, we all suffer from that stuff, or some of us have, maybe not all of us, but a lot of us do. The Madonna whore complex was really powerful for me and Jen. And learning how to talk to each other and getting comfortable with saying like the language, even like the words that get used of talking about sex. Like sometimes we're like both 50 years old, and like I feel like we're in the past like children talking about sex, like little, you know what I mean? And like now it's just like straight to the point. Everybody knows what each other wants, and it's actually happening. If you want to have like a hot, crazy sex life, you have to talk to each other. You got to tell each other what you want, right? Otherwise, we're just kind of like stabbing in the dark at things. And I have like a pretty creative streak in me with coming up with like, fun, elaborate date nights. And I'm always trying to impress her and come up with something that blows away whatever we did last time. And that seems to keep things fun for both of us too. The level that we've gotten to with our connection and that simmer that's always happening because of it is it doesn't get boring. I'm like, I love this woman. I can't wait to see her every day. It's like every day coming home from work, I can't wait to see her face. I did things that in the past she would, hey, you want to come shopping with me? I'm going to stay home and I'm going to do, now I go everywhere. Anytime she asks me to do something, I go. No matter what it is, I just want to be with her. So it's not even a spark. It's a flame. It's there. It's never going out. It's constant.
So what do you think changed, like before, where you were like said no, I'll just stay home and watch TV or whatever. Like
the connection that we've got, that because of like the sex that we're having and where our relationship has gone, it's not just the physical aspect of it. It's just being let in, like not having our glass is clear. And I know it's more than that though. It's more like I'm on the other side of her glass. I'm on her side. Like we're so honest with each other, and our relationship has like a purpose. We don't have sex anymore. We practice sex. It's like our marriage has kind of taken on like a new meaning. Like it's not the same thing anymore. It's just not the same anymore. We're so connected to each other. I just want to be around her. I don't know. I was in my head a lot more and in the past, and, not feeling connected to her and wondering what was going on. There might've been like thoughts of like, is she is there like infidelity going on and things like that? Like, because stuff wasn't so great with us. And I don't feel like that at all anymore. She wants to be with me. I want to be with her. It's just all the things that we learned through your classes where we regularly have connection dates. We don't even like schedule them. They're just kind of always happening. Like that's the, as soon as something comes up, we talk about it. We rarely get in fights anymore. It's almost like we're like a new couple again.
Right. So tell me about when you talk about planning these elaborate dates, give me some examples of that. Because I know, part of the whole Anami way of life is having regularly scheduled sex dates and 3-hour sex dates. And then beyond that into sex weekends and sex weeks. And you guys have taken that on and run with it. There's the people who hear about scheduling sex and they get resistant and they're like, ew, that's not sexy. But you take this to a whole other dimension and make it the sexiest thing ever.
Yeah, so the scheduled sex dates work for us very well because we're both very busy and have teenage kids, and I run a business and she's got a full-time job herself, and like everybody else, we're very busy. And scheduling, like, you would think it would be like unsexy and not romantic to do this where like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday are the nights that we have sex, and like it's really doesn't play. You don't feel like that. We know that those are the days this is going to happen. And then there is like a day off between two of the sex dates, I think. And like, there's like anticipation growing, and I can't wait to get my hands on her. And that's nice to have like a little break to build that back up again. So that's certainly helped us with the regularity of this, and it doesn't get boring. It's like getting in the lab and like figuring stuff out and working on different things. And there could be a theme sometimes for some of it. We'll go out, make like an overnight trip somewhere to different shows. And like, we're really into burlesque stuff. And we'll get on an airplane to go somewhere for a date night. I really enjoy planning crazy stuff and blowing her mind with fancy gifts and crazy destinations and expensive hotels and all of that kind of stuff. And that's a regular thing for us. That's usually more the sex weekend trips, or we try to go all out, right? And like that's all based around a hotel room somewhere, or maybe outside someplace. But it's we try to go overboard with all of it. She's agreed to have sex outside. In fact, that's kind of like a turn on for her. She likes the outdoor thing. So I'll periodically, like, we know Monday is going to be a sex night, right? And I'll send her a message during the day, like, are you game for something different tonight? Like, she knows we're going to have, it's a sex date night, but I'll, spring something on her, like, we're going to do something different. And she's kind of given me permission to do that without knowing, like, what she's either going to say yes or no. Like, she knows what she's getting herself into by saying yes. And I'll tell her, like, generally what she should be wearing and what time to be ready to leave the house. And that's all the description she's going to get. And that could be like, say, 9 p.m., right? She'll be wearing what she's supposed to wear. I might have a backpack full of stuff or something that's already in the car and have like an idea of where we're going. And I'll put a blindfold on her so she doesn't know where we're going. And that kind of like,
you do that all the time, or this is one particular instance?
No, not all the time, but there's been a few times where there's a blindfold in the car. And you got to be careful with that, because if people see her driving around blindfolded, they might think something funny, right? So like a good trick that I'll learn, if you tie like a blindfold around her head, it looks a certain way. But when it's one of those sleep masks, that's blindfolded, and that no one's going to think anything of that. Just something to know, because I've run into gotten some weird looks in a construction zone once with her blindfolded in the car. I'm like kind of trying to duck her head down. Anyway, I was going to take her to this pond that was a place she went like to feed the ducks as like a kid, that was near her mother's house. And she didn't know that's where we were going. And we ended up parking in a place. She gets out into the dark and I take the blindfold off. It takes her a few minutes to figure out where she is. And she still doesn't know. And we're like in her mother's yard. It was like kind of funny. And then walk down to the duck pond. She finally figures out where we are, and there's like cars zooming around. And I had this whole planned out, like by scoping this out while I was at work, like if you shine your headlights into this area, can you see back there, and kind of really figured it out. Like the set, if this was going to be like that we wouldn't end up in jail, right? So I knew where to go in the park, and now she knows where she is, of course. And like, there's like lots of traffic and people walking by, but they can't see us. And we're like, they could have seen us if they knew where to look. And like the headlights light you up for a second, but then the car turns, and it was like this really kind of like, are we going to get caught kind of thing? And she loves that, like that idea of like, we might get caught. So like blowjobs on balconies happen a lot in broad daylight, and she's into this, like, are we going to get caught thing. So like, I like to play with that as often as we can. There was another one where, I don't know if she was blindfolded or not, but we went to like this kind of like a park, like a city park kind of thing. We live in the suburbs, but it's like a municipal park with a playground and a baseball field and all that kind of stuff. I like went to town on her on this park bench, and there was like people walking by, and then we would quickly stop and then jump back into it. It was like this, like almost getting caught kind of thing. And there was another one at another pond somewhere else, and she was completely naked walking around at nighttime. That's her jam, like the outdoor kind of thing, and like feeling like this little fairy nymph woman running around in that setting, and that was really hot.
So what about some of the more like luxurious adventures? Tell me about.
So we've been to La Faena in Miami, which is definitely our favorite hotel in the U.S. And we're going to be back there again, I think in February. And that's like a sex weekend kind of thing. And it's like extremely beautiful. It's like an art gallery type hotel, and again, with a balcony. So I'm sure that something will happen out there. Really nice. That's kind of like just stay in the hotel, and like there's a spa there, and we'll get body treatments there. And it's just like totally relax and like focus the whole trip on sex, right? And now it's 2 years later. We haven't been there in 2 years. And like, we've got like way more tricks up our sleeve now. So like, that should be pretty crazy. We've been to the Wynn in Vegas to go see Dita Von Teese. And we renewed our vows there in November and got married again. That was awesome. I've told that story before. That was like a really parading her down Las Vegas Boulevard with this see-through blouse on, and like the Red Sea parting kind of thing. And all these guys with like their jaws open, like, look at this guy. Oh my God, this guy's got it all figured out. And it was like the proudest thing ever. That's like, we would never do something like that in the past. I wouldn't like let my wife walk around, guys gawking at her. And now I'm like, it's like my prized possession that I'm just not threatened by it. I'm like, it's like a feather in my cap for somebody to pay her a compliment. So the Wynn, that's like a super nice hotel in Vegas. We've stayed at Casa Cipriani in New York City. That's a really high-end kind of old feeling jazz clubby kind of place. Lots of like Hollywood celebrities are there, and it's like you play dress up and eat fancy food and have good sex. A recent one was at this private BDSM dungeon that we had all to ourselves, which was pretty crazy. The place is the size of a basketball court. That's the dungeon that we had access to. That you're going to go there and rent it and have a party with like 100 people in there if you wanted to. But we had it just the two of us, and there's like a bedroom suite connected to it, and it's like an Airbnb kind of deal. So there's somebody making breakfast for us, and we're Ubering, door dashing, Uber Eats food shows up and to keep you alive, and there's a shower. And this dungeon thing had every different item of furniture. There was like a 10-foot St. Andrew's cross in there, and there's like what the caretaker calls like a gift shop with all these tools and implements and everything you can think of for like a dungeon setting for you to use. And it's all super clean and autoclaved stuff. And I own all of that stuff. So we brought a lot of that with us, our own things. And it's like these really awesome photography session opportunities, and pushing some boundaries and trying some new things. And it had like this kick-ass stereo system in the place that was amazing. It was like something out of a movie. That was she'll say it too, because like that's more my jam, that kind of stuff. And she's a willing participant and open to all of it. And she learned some things about herself that trip, and we had a great time. It was really awesome.
I love that.
Yeah, that was great.
you'd made a comment like you can't believe what she says yes to. Like she's the ultimate yes woman, this sense of availability and insatiability that has been transformed. And, again, where couples can feel like they get in these ruts of negotiation and obligation, you're both just yes man, yes woman, and to the extreme. So tell me about this, like her just utter, receptivity to everything
Yeah,
with you.
so like I think she'll say, if you asked her, she would probably say that like the Madonna whore complex did a number on her and me, like for I guess decades of my influence on her and like our kind of squashing our sex life and me just having that in my head and I guess her also. I think I got lucky in a sense that she's like a really sexual person, and now it's like it's all coming out. Once you talk a lot about like women feeling safe. That's a tough word, I think, for men to understand because we always think that it's like a physical thing, like you've got to feel secure, like it's,
Well,
and I
I
don't
don't
think
know if
that's
I
what it
use the
is.
word safety, maybe because I feel like that has other connotations, like over the last few years, stay safe, right? Like
Yeah,
I think
maybe
it's more about building trust and
that
connection,
is
right?
exactly what it is. Or maybe Jen uses the word feeling safe, and like it just took a while for that to sink in and me to understand what that actually means. And what it means is safe for her to let me know who she is, like, and kind of let me into her fantasies and her desires and what she thinks and what like the Madonna whore complex. It's still a thing. Like she's showing herself. She doesn't want me to lose respect for her, so she needs to feel safe that she can show me. I'm always using the word like treat her like a whore and all of that stuff. And I like to say it. It sounds like I'm getting my point across if we use those words, right? She's got like this collar that says slut on it. I love when she wears all this stuff. I want her to be my slut. She wants to do the same thing. We're
Well,
both super comfortable.
these are fun words to play with because they have such a charge, right? Like even, in our culture where if a man wants to insult a woman but knows nothing about her sexual history, he'll just call her a slut, right? Like, oh,
Yeah.
what you slut. It's like, what the fuck? Like you don't even, it's just become this epithet that you think it's going to hurt a woman. And so because of all of this programming and shaming around women's sexuality, so it's kind of like instinctively knowing that that's going to be a soft spot in most women who haven't done this kind of conscious work. So the act of, using these words or wearing a shirt or a collar that says slut on it, it's like, fuck you. I'm fucking me. He's fucking me. But, and I don't give a fuck what you think. All the major religions certainly enforce that dichotomy, right, of Madonna whore. They all do. Maybe in like more tribal indigenous cultures, you don't have that so much. They have more of a reverence and genuine understanding of what sex is, or ancient Tantra and Taoism, where it's a whole esoteric practice. But in the modern world, no, it's a total control mechanism. So there's a lot of fun in flaunting those things and deliberately wearing slutty, so-called slutty clothing, right? And going out and being slutty, or being slutty with your, like, because it's actually, in most cases, it's just a healthy, voracious expression that women are denied because they're only allowed those two poles and those two extremes.
For sure. I mean, Monday nights are usually lingam night.
Slut night. I was gonna say.
And yeah, she's got a fucking, I bought her this little tiny like baby doll shirt that says come slut on it. She's got a blowjob queen shirt.
And
I
she
mean,
wears these out in public?
no, she wears them when she like, that's her blowjob
Wants a
outfit. And
blowjob.
it's like, it never gets old. Like seeing her wear this thing is amazing. And she's happy to wear it. And I don't know that she might wear that in public. Depends where we're going, I guess.
It'd be fun
Um,
to have a night like where you deliberate, like that's your mission, right? Is like you wear these clothes and go out and just see what happens.
yeah, I'll put
Or
the shirt on
you've
her
got,
blindfolded. She won't know what she's wearing.
well, you go out to a bar somewhere, right? And you've got a shirt that's like blowjob lover or blowjob king, and hers is blowjob queen, and you just have fun, and see what happens. And that stuff is very therapeutic for busting out of these spells and these shackles of taboo that so many people get locked up in.
Yeah, for sure. everything is so out in the open.
You mentioned going to a club. There was another couple who had done, I think, a year of Anami, like you and Jen, and you guys, I think they'd reached out to you, and you all went out for an evening. You were in the same city, and you went out for an evening. So, what was that like to be with another
Yeah, so
couple
that
who
was
has the same vocabulary and language, and you know, like the same mission?
yeah, that was Scott and Emily Hadley. They're students of yours also. They're big fans of this band, the Lords of Acid, right? And they were touring. They're from Europe, and they were here, and they were going to be. They were like traveling around following this band, like the Grateful Dead has the Deadheads, right? I don't know what you call the Lords of Acid fans, but they were following them around, and that's like a super sex themed kind of techno band that plays. And anyway, they were going to be in New York City, and they know that we're from there, so they were like, "Hey, would you guys be our guests and come meet us at this thing?" And we were like, "Sure." Like we don't even know them; we just were kind of students, and
You
we
kind of
have
knew
like
them
a
from the salon, like you'd seen
yeah,
Scott
like
around.
we
You
knew them.
guys, yeah.
Yeah, we knew of each other, and we knew each other's stories, and like what they were about, and they've had great successes with you also. So we were excited to meet them, and they wanted to meet us, and we kind of feel like we know each other already from doing all the stuff. We were their guests for that show, so we took them out to dinner. We had a great time talking about. It's interesting how that happens too, like talking openly about everything that's going on, like our like private bedroom stuff with people you just really met 10 minutes ago. And it's like it just felt so comfortable to talk about this because we're both in that place. And his wife is sitting there in this blouse that's just completely see-through lace, and we're in this restaurant, there's people looking, and like, this is who we are, man. Take a good look. You know what I mean? He's also like this towering giant, like this huge guy. It's like, I don't think anyone's going to say anything anyway. And we just had a great time talking to them about all of this stuff. And the girls were yakking it up. And I was talking to him about, all of our successes. And he was picking my brain about different things. And I'm kind of like that, the guy that's more interested in the BDSM stuff. And like the men are always asking me questions about that. And we were talking a little bit about that. And we went to the show, which was a lot of fun. And we were standing up in the front, and it's like a crazy, like eccentric group of people are at this thing. And during one of the shows, I think during one of the songs, rather, I believe the song is called Pussy. The singer like invites all the women to come up on stage and like sing with her, right, and dance and just get crazy. And this was like would have been out of character for Jen, at least years ago, to do something like that, but not tonight. And her and Emily got up there, and it was basically, I mean, they had clothes on, but it was like this totally crazy, like pole dancing striptease kind of thing they're doing up on stage. And people are filming this, and people have like my wife on film doing like, I don't know if this was on television or like it was definitely on Instagram because I saw it on the band's page, and like, she's fucking crazy, man. Like she's like this new got found. She's not inhibited by anything, and crazy in a good way. I was super happy, impressed with her, and proud of her for doing this. And like everything that she like gate she goes through with this, it's like we're going deeper into this thing and becoming more liberated and comfortable with the whole thing. And I was like grinning ear to ear watching my wife do that on stage in front of everybody. It was amazing. Totally out of character. I don't know if Emily regularly does that, but she was up there too. It was really something to see. So it was a great night.
And how about sexually speaking, like orgasmic achievements for both of you? And we can start with her. So I think, what I'm really enjoying here is painting this picture that is contrary to what a lot of people might think of. Okay, married for 30 years. And you guys married for 30 years, or well, together for 30 years and hotter than ever, right? Like you're having your peak sexual experiences now. So if you could share some examples of that, orgasmically speaking, for her and then for you, like hitting these peaks at this stage of your relationship.
Yeah, so has done quite a bit of, I guess, work, and her G-spot orgasms are crazy. They're like, her G-spot orgasms have gotten to the point where once they start, they don't really stop. It's not like an event, like we're building up to a thing and then it happens. We're getting into a rhythm, and it's like she goes into this orbit where that's where we are now. That's the way that works. They're like moments of like a wave of pleasure that will happen, and I guess we would call that a G-spot orgasm, right? And they just, it's like this rhythmic thing, and they're like, it's over 100 of them that just, she eventually will say, okay, I'm good. It's not like, the big show happens and then like that's the end, which is what sex used to be. Now it's like we're into this, the practice of this, and like she'll say that the feeling of it is intensifying. It's becoming increased the way it feels. The energy, those waves of pleasure become more pronounced. The further we go into this, like, they're much different now than they were a year ago. Her cervical experiences are definitely taking off. I can make cervical contact with her no matter what, like however we are, and she loves to be having intercourse for that, right? There's crying, there's laughing, that emotional release happens, and she'll tell me that like the cervical and G-spot things kind of feel similar. Like this, the cervical one's more of like this radiation, like a radiating feeling of energy moving through her, and the G-spot ones are more wave-like. But what I can tell you is when there's like a good cervical session, she's like really happy the next day. It's like like a therapy session. She really is. It's not, and I notice it. We do this a lot, and I mean, I'm still seeing it. Those are powerful. Those are different. They're very powerful. She'll have like what she calls like a heart orgasm, or like an energy moving thing, and maybe like cervical feeling, but from different, more central in her body, and she can feel that moving out up into her head. She had an episode last year where that happened, and like I think I told you about it, where there was like energy shot up into her head and out of her third eye, and her arms were tingling for half an hour. She's really good at moving energy and has gotten very in tune with her body and feeling things, and to the point where she's having G-spot orgasms much easier than she did in the past.
Right. Yeah. And how often are you all having sex?
At least 4 times a week, like clockwork. Like I said, there's an unwritten rule that quickies can happen whenever I want them to.
In addition to that,
yeah. And like, there's just so much sex happening that there's like really time to do that. Like I'm running a business and I have to go do that.
And your
each session.
Yeah. How long did they last for?
Oh, at least 2 hours each time, usually 3. Saturday night is generally is our 3-hour sex date. So that's kind of like we're blocking out time for sure for that. I want to say in the beginning of us starting this practice, they were all 3 hours or longer. And we've gotten so good at this that like they kind of don't need to be, if that makes sense. Like she's satiated in less time than that. And like, we're going to do this again tomorrow. There's no need to burn the midnight oil every night, right?
Right. You had also talked about, something we talk about a lot in Anami land is the changes that happen in your outer life that are as a result of this alchemical internal combustion that you generate, this energy superfuel through your sexual connection. And so we see these results in our business, in our career, in our family, in our children, in our finances, and even our bodies. And you had mentioned that you'd recently lost a bunch of weight.
Yeah. Jen is like a 50-year-old bombshell. She's really in great shape, and she earned she's in the gym 5 days a week, and she's we both have like an athletic background to begin with, but she's like really like honed in on like getting herself squared away. And I was not in tip-top shape back prior to November of last year, and this, like all of this change kind of just prompted me to, I'm spending a lot of time like on our relationship, and I want to look like I belong standing next to her. And that prompted me to take on a nutrition coach and begin like get myself squared away too. So I lost 46 pounds since last November. And now I guess I look like I belong standing next to her. And I'm still in the middle of working on all that. We're going to be switching up my nutrition plan and changing up some weightlifting routines and putting muscle on. And it's not really to lose weight. It's to just tone up and make everything look better. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's for her. It's for me too. But yeah, everything that we do is kind of like, in the past, I paid a lot of attention to politics, and I really don't anymore. I pay attention to her. You get one life, and like, once this is over, that's it. And like, I mean, we're getting older and we're gonna have to slow down a little bit. But she's like, she wants me in shape because she's damned and determined, she'll say, to make sure that I'm fucking her when she's 80. And I have no doubt that is what's gonna happen. And I know you're a fitness fan yourself. If you got to keep your body working, and you can do all these things.
Well, I love that that's part of the motivation to be fit is so that you can keep having epic marathon sex for decades,
For
well
sure.
into your 80s beyond.
Absolutely. She has full access to my ass whenever she wants it. And there's prostate play happening regularly here. And prostate orgasms are crazy. If men don't know what that is, they really need to. I guess some women might have some issue with getting involved with that too, but she doesn't. And it's amazing. It like takes everything to like turns it up to like 11. Having penile orgasms with prostate stimulation is insane. I have a feeling it's something similar to like the G-spot thing for women. I have no idea. It's just the way we explain it to each other. And yeah, I mean, there's no going back. That's in the game plan now for sure. So that's happening. So my orgasms are way more intense than they were.
And your
We're
stamina, right? That was the thing for
Yeah,
you
my
you've been
stamina is
working
like
on.
unflappable. I could go as long as she wants me to go. And I know it sounds like I'm bragging. It's just the truth. I can fuck her as long as she wants me to.
So we're talking
It,
hours, like you could be having
yeah,
intercourse for a couple of hours
I
straight.
can. I could probably go longer than that.
Yeah.
If I don't know that we ever have done that long. I don't. We don't normally get into like just intercourse and just kind of stick with that. We'll do that later on, but like we like to like change it up, and there's lots of moving around and laughing and falling off the bed and shit. And like, you know what I mean? It's not just keeping it fun. But yeah, I can have sex with her as long as she wants me to. And I have very good control over that. And I'm working on the semen retention thing and separating orgasm from ejaculation.
It's a very high level of skill to cultivate. But as I
Yeah,
say,
that's
it's
it.
the
That's
most important sexual skill for men is stamina and unflappability, that no matter what position that ass is in, you've still got it covered
it
and you're not going
definitely
to
is.
sway. Yeah. Is there anything else that would help describe, what life looks like for a couple who's been together for this long, where their sex life is off the charts? Like any other stories or examples you'd share that show people what that looks like these days in your life?
She doesn't say no to anything. She's like really sexually adventurous, and that's fun. I mean, she's open to all of it. Anything that we want to do, she's a yes. And she's kind of submissive by nature, and like like wants me to dominate her, and like that means I'm kind of flying the plane and like and directing where this is all going, and that works for me.
So
You
let's touch
know,
a little bit on that, right? So you've explored and really embraced the polarity of your masculine and feminine energies. And I know that in her day-to-day life, she works a high-powered position where, she has control over things, but then when she comes back to you, allows you to be the alpha, you the dominant, and craves that, and she's nourished by that. So speak a bit to that dynamic that, it plays out in every single relationship. And right now there's so much bombardment messaging that discourages people from owning these roles and shames them almost, right? All masculinity is toxic is the messaging that we get, where you guys have really run with that. And I'd say that's a big part of your chemistry and connection and attraction.
for sure. I'm like not just masculine with her. I'm like an alpha male with men. I lead men. I run a company. I have men that work for me. I sit on boards. I'm a board of directors of different groups, and like I've always kind of been that guy. And she's an alpha female. She's the same way. Like we're both like dominant in the out in the world. And we've talked about this a lot. Like being like a Gen X male, we're born in like this post-feminist era, and that's hard to figure out how to do that with a dominant woman. Like I never understood that. She's like, no, I mean, I'm that person in the world. But when I'm in the bedroom, I'm not her, I'm someone else. And like, it was hard for me to understand that. And now that I've given myself permission to be like that with her and see her that way. And now I understand it better. So we don't have a polarity issue. I think it's probably pretty exaggerated between the two of us. And in the couple salon 4 with the that's the polarity one, right? Like there's like some light BDSM play that you teach in that one, and like we use that too, right? And that's a big help for all of that, for people that want to explore that. It's almost, if that's not really who you are, you can just use that as like a role playing tool and to play with that. And she is super submissive. She wants to be taken, and I want to take her.
Love
so
it.
I do.
Any parting words for people? Inspiration of this notion that yes, you can be together for decades and things can be hotter than ever.
Yeah, I mean, if there's like some level of attraction, if there's some glimmer of hope that you've got something left in your relationship, you can probably breathe life back into it. And once this gets going and you get that spark lit, it's like turns into an inferno. This just snowballs into more and more. There's definitely got to be a physical attraction between people. And if there isn't, maybe you guys communicating that you want to have this kind of connection with a person will spark some interest in that to get yourself in shape. And I mean, she looks fucking great, man. She's like got a great ass in like platform heels with like this teenager's ass on her. She's amazing. It's easy. Like when she looks like that, and she'll say the same thing about me. She's physically attracted to me. If you can get this going, that one thing begets the next. You've got to want to do this, and you need to talk to each other, and somebody needs to make the first move.
And then somebody needs to say yes.
If that's the man and you have a submissive woman, that's just going to help you because it's you showing up and leading and showing her that you're serious. Jen was apparently always wanted me to do this, and I didn't know that, and she didn't know how to say it. She didn't want to rock the boat. But once I did, there's like a little hesitation, like, is he serious about this? Like, does he really want me to like act like this and wear these things? And like, now she knows. I'm like, holy shit, this is the best. We really did a good thing. You did a good thing. You did this for me.
Amazing. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Kim.
My Sexual Mastery for Men salon is now open and begins this week. This 8-week online program covers all things sexual mastery and super cock training, including foreplay, how to last for hours, testosterone boosting, cock lengthening and strengthening exercises, how to give your woman G-spot and cervical vaginal orgasms, cockfidence, inhabiting your cock and your masculine alpha self, communication and seduction to open and soften her, and the sex acts that will boost your business, plus a whole bunch of wonderful tutorials and techniques to be a full-on supercock sexual master. You have weekly videos full of techniques and my well-fucked secrets, home play for singles and couples, and weekly live Q&A coaching calls with yours truly. Plus, you have lifetime access to the salon. To sign up, go to kimanami.com, look for Sexual Savant Salons, and click on Sexual Mastery for Men. Thank you so much for listening. Subscribe to the podcast, leave a review, and send somebody else the gift of a multi-orgasmic and transformational love life by sharing this episode with them. If you'd like to go deeper into all things orgasms, sign up for my free Orgasmopedia series, where you'll learn about 9 different types of orgasms everyone can have. Go to kimanami.com and you'll see the sign up there. Come one, come all.